Welcome to the latest edition of Transparency in Government. As always, we are here with our town manager, Kevin Smith, and Kevin's going to catch us up on what's been going on for the last month and a half, I think, since we've been on the air. So we're going to get right down to it because we've got a pretty long list here, and some of them are questions that I've gotten from residents. But let's start off with something very upbeat here, Kevin. I saw a nice headline in the news a couple weeks ago, and I think you should do a little bragging. How about what's going on with finances in town this year?
Well, we had another great year, Dottie.
I think Banner Year
was I think the headline that was in the Times, and it really was. Between our under expenditures and the revenue that came in, as far as the expenditure lines went, we were about $700,000 to $800,000 under expended. That's from year to year, because when people hear that, I don't necessarily want people to think, oh, well, the budget's too bloated then that they could come $700,000.
It's not like that at
we had
all.
a great winter.
Yeah.
That helped out tremendously. But we also had some vacancies and people leaving some of the different departments. So between the lag time of hiring new people, you end up saving money there.
Right.
But then the big news was on the revenue side. We were about $1.2 million plus on what we had predicted for revenues, and it's really the second year in a row where our revenues have far outpaced where we thought they were going to be.
And we outpaced your expectations.
Yeah, and we increased the revenue lines last year, knowing that they were going to come in a little bit higher. Never did we think it was going to be 1.2 million higher, because it was about the same the prior year, even though we had increased it.
Yeah.
So we've increased it again for this year.
And what's driving that, Kevin?
Well, it's a number of things. Motor vehicle registrations. So people are purchasing new cars at a...
Economy is getting
the economy is
better.
doing well here. In some areas of the country, it may still not be recovered from the Great Recession, but here in Londonderry, it has, and then some. So you've got new building going up. New building permits are just crushing it right now from the building department. So you add all of these things up, and it does very well for our revenue.
Yeah.
And so what all that means, Dottie, is we're going to see a tax decrease on the town side for the third year in a row.
Sounds good.
It's great news.
Yeah.
It's great news for the town. Now, of course, the tax rate is made up of your town tax rate, your school tax rate, the state school tax, and then the county tax.
Yeah.
So there's four components of the rate. Now,
you only have control over one.
That's right.
Yeah.
What the overall rate's going to do, I'm not sure, but I can tell you on the town side, it's going to go down again. When I came on in 2013, we had a rate of $5.17. Last year it was $4.94. I suspect that it'll, obviously go down from that point when we set the rate in October. So it's good news. It's very good news for the town, and right now there's really no end in sight, barring some national catastrophe.
Oh, don't say that.
Well, you don't want it, but obviously, you've got to be prepared that something like a 9/11, if it occurs, that could affect the economy adversely. And again, you hope it doesn't happen, but right now, barring anything like that, things are going
shape.
very well here in town.
We are in good shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And it's not all by accident.
No, it isn't. It isn't all by accident. I think we've been very prudent on the expenditure side of things. We don't have a bloated budget. We haven't, increased spending by lots of.
Right.
And that's the other thing too, Dottie. I think it's important to point out is that we haven't cut the budget. We've been operating off of default budgets now for a number of years, but the default budget increases by about 2% every year. So you've got the operating budget that's gone up about 2%. You've had new positions being added in fire and police. You've had warrant articles that have funded things like the rail trail, funded things like the capital equipment line, roadway maintenance, expendable maintenance. So we're spending money. We're just not doing it at a pace that's exceeding revenue coming in and the valuations going up. And that's what's kept the tax rate going down. So when people say, well, the only way you can cut taxes is by cutting services,
No.
it's not true.
No.
We've shown here in Londonderry that you can cut taxes and still fund your essential services and then some at the same time.
Yeah. And when you're growing, it doesn't make a lot of sense to cut your services either.
No, it doesn't.
Makes you much
And
less attractive to
it
grow
does.
in.
And we're not in a growth period right now,
Yeah.
so you wouldn't cut services during a time like this.
Well, you know, speaking of growth, I think that kind of works into one of the questions that I got from a member of the public. They were noticing that there seems to be more and more articles in the paper over the last few weeks about the Conservation Commission weighing in on different projects and different issues. And they were curious as to why that is. Why does the Conservation Commission weigh in on so many different things other than just being the Conservation Commission like we thought they used to be?
Well, you know, the Conservation Commission, they're an advisory commission, so they don't get to make binding decisions. But statutorily, from, you know, the state statute allows conservation commissions to exist in the municipalities and gives them certain authority to weigh in on a number of issues. So it could be wetland setbacks, you know, wetland buffers, dredge and fills, and so they look at all of those things. Even if none of those items exist, they're looking anyway to make sure they don't exist. To say, yeah, we have no issue.
So they're
here.
being proactive as far as any environmental type of issue that might come up.
Yeah, and we don't want there to be any surprises. And so as a town, we'll send them the plans, even if we know that there's not a wetlands buffer issue or a dredge and fill issue. We'll send them anyway so that they can look at the plans and say, yep, you're right, there are no issues with this particular project. So it's being proactive. And again, it's to prevent any surprises in the future. Maybe we didn't catch something that they catch. But I would note again, they are advisory. And so any vote that they take, you know, if they decide not to issue or recommend a dredge and fill permit, that's ultimately something that the state and then the planning board, you know, will weigh in on after
they
that.
make those final decisions.
Right.
Okay, so that kind of works right into another question that had come up, which was about Woodmont specifically, and the duck pond and the wetlands up in that area. Do we know what the situation is there? I mean, I kind of, this person that I had been speaking to sort of assumed the same thing that I had, is that those things were probably already looked into when the whole process was.
Yeah, they were.
Okay, so where do we stand on that type of thing?
The duck pond, the overall game plan for Woodmont is to make that into a, so it's not a swamp anymore. So they'll use it for drainage.
Now, where is this duck pond? Are we talking about the one that we can see from the road, or is it?
Yes, you can see it. Yeah, you
Right
can
off of
see it
Gilchrist?
from Gilchrist. Well, when there's no leaves on the trees,
And we go right over that little bridge.
you can see it
it's
off
right
of
there.
Gilchrist.
Okay.
You can also see it from Pillsbury too.
Okay.
Again, when the foliage is in the winter
Yeah.
months, you'll be able to see it. I mean,
Okay.
the beavers have done quite a job in building the water up in that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the plan for Woodmont is to make that as a part of the landscape for the Woodmont Commons development. So, you know, I think they envision having maybe a couple of fountains in there and making it really aesthetically nice, but also using it for part of their drainage. Now, they are also building some detention ponds not on the Gilchrist side, but on the other side of the pond for the first phase of the development. And again, those drainage areas will be part of the landscape of the overall development. So they plan on having, you know, barring droughts, having a a steady flow of water into those areas, and
Okay.
and again making them aesthetically pleasing.
Okay. Now, my understanding is that that duck pond was originally like a man-made situation, but it's been there so long, hasn't it kind of developed its own ecosystem, and don't we have to be careful about
We
that?
do.
Ecosystem.
No, we
Eco.
certainly do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
and that's where, they'll be working hand in hand with the Conservation
Okay.
Commission and with the Department of Environmental Services
right.
to make sure that it's
We don't
not being
disrupt that in
disturbed
any way, okay.
in a way, that
Okay,
would
yeah.
disrupt the
Yeah.
ecosystem in
Yeah.
there. And the state doesn't delineate either man-made versus natural-made. Once
Once it's
a
there.
wetland has been established, even
Yep.
if it's a man-made established wetland, they treat them all the same.
That's what I had thought, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had read that somewhere a long, long time ago. Well, this kind of flows into another thing we're going to talk about too, is about conserving water.
So a couple of weeks ago, I took part in a conference call with the governor and a number of state officials who sounded the alarm and said that we are in an emergency situation
Right.
right now,
Yeah.
where this has a potential to become a natural disaster, in that people's wells are going to start drying up. We're way below the rainfall that we need in the groundwater. So they strongly urged municipalities to exercise their authority under state law to enact outdoor water bans for residential lawn watering.
Okay.
Let me explain. If you
Please,
read the
yeah.
statute, if you read the state law, the towns only have the ability to ban outdoor lawn watering for residents only. Okay, so in the state, the towns can only do what the state allows them to do. So the law does not say you can ban tree watering, shrub watering, vegetable garden watering.
Okay.
It also says, it doesn't
I
say.
just can't water my lawn and my flower garden.
You can't water your lawn. Even the flower garden, it depends kind of where the flower garden is set up.
Okay.
But it's the law is specific to lawns only and only on residences. So commercial properties can continue to water their lawns.
So they'll look pretty and we won't.
Well, and so part of the ordinance that the town council has proposed, encourages commercial
To participate in
property
that
owners to participate in
yeah,
it.
concern,
And we're going to be sending them letters of the letting them know we want them to conserve water as
Yeah,
well. We
yeah.
can't mandate that they do it, but they should take part in it. Unless for some reason the water usage is part of their business, we want them to take part in this outdoor
Okay.
water ban. So the council did propose an ordinance to enact this. They had a public hearing on it this past week. We're taping this show on September 30th.
Right.
There was a public hearing the prior Tuesday. That has been, Councilor Butler asked for it to be continued to the following Monday. So October 3rd, they'll be taking the issue up once again
Okay.
at a public hearing there.
Okay.
So as of today, the water ban is not in place.
Not in place.
Yeah.
Okay. But it looks like it's coming.
I would say so. Yeah.
I was actually kind of surprised. I heard a couple of weeks ago that I believe it was Plaistow
Yep.
had imposed a ban on outside watering. And the reason that I was kind of surprised by that is that there's no city water or town water in that town. It's all personal wells.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, it's New Hampshire, and people are going to go, hey, it's my well. I know how much water I got. I'll use it the way I want.
Well,
But it does affect everyone
does,
because it's the
because-
water table.
exactly.
And, yeah.
It all comes from the same aquifer. So
yes.
there's veins that run, under the wells
Yeah.
to the aquifer, and yes, it's your own private well, but it's still
be affecting
the
the next
water
guy down the
source. It's
road. Mm-hmm.
not like you have your own private water source as well, and so every time you're pulling from yours, it's
Mm-hmm.
lowering the whole water table, which, like you said, could affect your neighbor.
Yeah.
So we're all in it together. And we need to conserve as much as we can. Fortunately, right now there's some rain in the forecast. That's the other thing too. If you see it raining for a couple of days,
It's not enough.
it's not nearly enough. I mean, there's months and months we got to make up for here. So as much as
And not just the rain, we got to make up for all the snow that we were
Well,
so
I was
happy
just
we
gonna
didn't
say,
get last winter.
I was just going to say, Dottie, as much as I detest the snow,
You want it this year.
it's not a bad thing if we get a lot of it this year,
Yeah,
because
we need
that
it.
obviously puts a lot of water into
Yeah,
the ground.
yeah.
So hopefully, this fall we'll get some more
Mm-hmm.
rain. It's looking like there's maybe already been a pattern change, and they're calling for it to be a snowy winter.
Yeah.
And right now, there's a potential for a tropical storm moving up the coast.
Oh, and maybe you could
as I
just
saw.
park right over us. For a
So, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll get the benefits of some tropical rains over some days.
sometimes storms are fun. Sometimes they're fun. Okay, well that sounds pretty good, and I hope that people take that seriously. And I remember
Yeah, same here.
when I was growing up, we had a dug well, and it did not last very well in the summer, and you had to like plan the showers and the dishwashing and the laundry, and all of those things had to be really
Right.
carefully planned out so that you didn't run that dry.
Right.
And then we didn't drink water from the well during that period. We got water from a
Yep.
pump in town. So do we still have that pump in town where people can go get water?
You're talking off of
It was
102
down, yeah.
as you go toward the flea market. I
Yeah.
believe that's been closed off for
that
a
was
number of years.
Yeah, I knew the
I do
area was
recall when we
closed
had
off.
it,
I didn't
yeah.
know if you could like walk in and get the water or not. Okay. Yeah, we used
I
to
don't
have it.
think
Used to be a
so.
big thing
Yeah.
to go down there
Yeah.
with your big water bottle and fill
Right.
up. So, okay, let's talk about the elections.
Yep.
You had a new for the primaries.
Right.
We had a new traffic flow
did.
pattern. How did that work?
Well, it worked very well, Dottie.
Mm-hmm.
The traffic the traffic flow was great pretty much the entire day. We had a little bit of a
Okay.
snag in the morning because there were parents dropping their
Oh,
kids off at school.
instead
So
of them parking in the
that created a little bit of a
Yeah,
traffic jam.
yeah.
But otherwise, for the entire day, it worked very well. And
Mm-hmm.
I really got to credit Jason Breen,
Jason
Lieutenant
did that,
Breen,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and his crew. They just did a wonderful job. Now,
Well, Jason's homegrown. Of course, he did a wonderful job.
exactly, right? We actually graduated the same year.
Oh, did
Dottie.
you? Really?
Yes,
Oh.
yeah. So here's the thing, though, to remember. We had about 3,200 people vote on that day, okay? We're
Boy, I wish it had
expecting,
been a lot more.
I do too, but we're expecting 13 to 15,000 on November election day. So while the traffic flow was good, we didn't get anywhere near the number we're going to see in November.
Right.
So the traffic pattern is going to change a little bit in November. The big change is going to be that as cars come in the main entrance, once the main lot is full, cars will be sent around the high school
Around
to
the
park
back?
around the back to park in the plateau.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have 3 shuttle buses running that
Okay,
day.
good,
That will
good.
be picking people up from that lot, dropping them off to vote. They'll
Picking them
vote,
back up,
picking
and
them back up and dropping them back off, and they'll just be constantly running. But people got to be prepared that when that lot is full, we're sending them around to the other lot.
Okay.
So that we don't have this huge backup traffic
Congestion
jam
and-
and
yeah,
congestion trying to get
Into the parking. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully it'll run okay. Expect delays. When you go to a
presidential-
concert, a sporting
yeah.
event, there's always delays getting in and out of parking.
And people should know to expect that by now with presidential elections.
Right, they
it's
should.
It's going to take a while
So
to get in and out.
but also know too, if we send you around to the shuttle lot, we're doing it to keep the traffic flowing and to keep things moving along.
Might want to put a sign in the corner that says shuttle buses
We're
available.
gonna have a lot of signs.
Shuttle buses available, so they don't think they're going to have to walk the 3 miles back.
No, we're gonna have a lot of signage
Yeah,
out there,
okay, good.
and we'll be ready. So, but as I said, expect delays to occur that day, and hopefully though it'll go off without a hitch. We won't have
If
snow.
you rename that plateau the VIP lot,
That might work
Okay,
better.
I
yeah,
think
right.
it'll work. I
People
think
will
it'll
want to
work.
go into
Yeah,
the
they go to
VIP.
the VIP lot. They get
They get a
shuttled
chauffeur, a
over, they
chauffeur
get-
service,
Yeah, make
you
them
know.
feel very special. I think that
Right,
would
maybe
help.
we'll serve some prime rib on the shuttle on their way over. You know,
Yeah, that's going to be a very tiny
some
piece
for
of
them
prime rib.
for them to snack on.
Is the budget that good?
No.
No, not that good. Not that good.
So, but yeah. So other than that, though, things worked out
Okay.
well.
And I was also noticing the other day I was watching MSNBC, and they were listing all of the states and when their last day to register to vote is.
Yep.
And the majority of them were sometime towards the end of October. But in New Hampshire, we are November 8th, the day of the election. People can register to vote right there at the polls.
Right.
And I think Vermont was the only other one that does that. I'm not sure about that, but that's what I thought I saw as it was running by on the screen.
So
That's pretty cool.
Some important things to remember. One is you can register to vote early. I cannot encourage people enough.
do
Register.
that.
I don't know what camera I'm supposed to look into. Register to vote early.
Early, yeah.
If
Yeah, you don't
want
want
to
to be
avoid the
standing down there.
lines,
Yeah, you're right.
It'll say, because
Yeah.
the other thing is,
But don't not show up because you forgot to.
no, because you can register at the polls. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
you can register early up to a week before the election.
Yes.
If you miss
and
it, then you have to register to vote
the polls.
At the polls.
Yeah.
But
and
that's
the reason for that is they have to update all these records before they get down
right,
there.
Right.
You know, so they,
But registering to vote early not only saves you time waiting in line at the polls,
Yep.
but the other thing it does is it gets you in and out of the parking lot faster.
True.
And we're trying to move the cars
Yeah.
out of the parking lot
Yeah.
as quick as we can. You know, the other thing
so
is,
be helpful.
well,
Register early.
and if you see people you haven't seen since the last election at the polls,
Meet them
you
for
know,
coffee.
Yeah, meet
Yeah.
them for coffee at Janie's, Italia's,
Are
somewhere
you talking
else.
to me?
But it just don't linger there because again, we're trying to move the cars out of that area as quick as possible.
You are talking to me. I know you are.
Never,
we always
Dottie.
see people down there
Never.
that we haven't seen, and you get into a conversation.
Right.
But you're right. We shouldn't be doing that there on presidential election day. I also noticed that at the primaries, when we also did the collective bargaining voting,
Yep.
that both of those passed.
Right.
That's
They
good
did.
news.
It is good news. So I think, as I mentioned previously on the show, we have 6 unions in town on the town side. So 2 of them passed, and so now we have 4-year contracts with 2 of the unions.
Yeah.
We're still in
4-year
negotiation.
contracts. That's
Yep.
good.
We're
Good.
still in negotiations with the other 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hopeful that we'll have those contracts on the March ballot,
Okay.
the March town ballot. So, yeah, but I'm very thankful to the voters that approved the other 2 contracts. They're great contracts, I think, for both the employees and the town. And so it was a good thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad that passed. I wanted to ask you about the fire, the police, the highway department, and how they're working on a communications plan, something that they can
Sure.
do cooperatively. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so the fire chief and his command staff presented, they've been working with a consultant on what it will take to upgrade the communications in town so that all of the equipment reaches all of the areas in town, and
Okay.
no matter, because we have a lot of dead spots right now for our emergency personnel equipment. And so
Do they sort of follow the dead spots that we all have with our cell phones?
No,
No,
they're
it's
different
not
because
totally
they're not.
different?
The what we're talking about here is like walkie-talkies.
Oh, okay. All right. So
and not like cellular. And
Gotcha.
so one of the questions came up is how come we're still using that technology for fire and police and not using something newer? And the answer is because it's still, believe it or not, the most efficient way of doing communications right
Okay.
now, and still the best way of doing them when you're talking about emergency services communications. But the upgrades cost a lot.
Yeah.
And so one of the things, and when I say cost a lot, we're talking about in the millions of dollars
That's
because
a
there's
lot.
transponders you have to change
Yes,
out,
yeah.
and the equipment. So we're looking at seeing, is there a possibility of leasing equipment to bring down the cost? And if we're talking about equipment that needs to be changed every number of years, maybe it would be better to lease than
Yeah.
purchase it all.
Yeah.
So we're looking at all of those different options right now, and coming up with a plan that'll suffice and work good for.
Are there possibly any federal grants or anything to help with something like that?
Perhaps. Yeah, there may be, Dottie,
Yeah.
something that'll help defray the cost. There could be something available for that.
Well, I'm thinking that they're very anxious to make all of the police and fire, everything more effective, and that
Right.
might be one way that they would be willing to help. That would be great.
Yeah,
if
it would be.
if they did that.
But it's a problem we're going to have to address sooner
or
than later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so we'll continue to take a look at it, and again, it always comes down to cost,
Always.
and
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah. But you're doing a good job with that, so we're not worried.
not not worried yet,
We're not
right?
We're not worried. We're not worried. You're doing a good job with that. I should have talked about this when we were talking about the Conservation Commission possibly weighing in on different projects, but we've got a lot of projects going on here. We've got the EFI, what does that stand for?
That's Electronics for Imaging.
Yeah, okay.
They are the new manufacturing company to move off of Pettingill Road.
Yeah.
400 to 500 jobs, which
Wonderful.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll be ready in what? Is it 2 years they think they'll be up and open?
I think they're planning for a 2018 opening, spring
Okay.
of 2018.
Okay. So a little under 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are we doing with FW Web?
They're doing great. There's steel going up now.
Yeah.
They're shooting for a fall 2017 opening.
Okay. Do
But
we know how many jobs might come from that?
it's going to be minimal. When I say
It's a
minimal,
small staff.
could be
for
between
that.
100 or 200 jobs.
Okay.
Even though it's a 1 million square foot facility, it's
Yeah.
a distribution center.
Yeah.
So unlike a manufacturing where
They need a lot of people.
right,
Yeah.
you don't need
Yeah.
nearly as many people for for that kind of operation.
Yeah, that
But
makes
nonetheless,
sense.
it's great that
Yeah,
they're
more jobs.
choosing
they're
this,
gonna
and
be-
it's more tax
I was
revenue.
just going to say more revenue.
Yeah.
Yep,
So it's
that's
it's wonderful.
all good. Yep.
Yeah.
And then we have Lorden
Lord and Commons.
Commons come. Yeah.
Yep, they're looking at building a number of new single-family homes as part of that development as well. It's they're a
What area
phased.
is that in?
It's in the northern quadrant
end?
of town, Auburn Road,
Okay.
up toward that area, almost on the Derry line.
Mm-hmm.
But they are the Auburn Derry line. But
Okay.
yeah, they're still, the houses are selling.
They are.
And
yeah.
when Nate, I know you're going to have Nate on
In a
another
little
one
while,
of your
yep.
shows, and Nate will talk about it. The school enrollment.
Yeah, I want to talk to him about the impact.
Yeah, it's
that
up.
That's having.
School enrollment is up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we had a little dip. And it's
Well, it
been
was a
up,
big
up,
dip.
Up, up. Well, I should say a
mean-
short-lived dip. It wasn't that long.
well, I think it
Was
goes
it?
back to 2006.
Really, that
for
long?
10 years,
Oh,
it declined
okay.
every year,
Okay.
and got to about 1,000 kids below where the peak was.
Okay.
And last year was the first year it leveled off almost entirely. There was no
Yeah.
net gain, net loss.
Yeah.
And now it's gone up this year for the first time, I think, in 10 years.
And we'll make sure that we get into some detail on that so people have
Yeah.
a feel for what's going
And
on
a lot of
there.
the developments occurred in the north end of town, so the elementary school up there is really feeling the crunch.
Yeah.
Unlike Matthew Thornton and South School, which potentially has a little bit more room.
Yeah.
North School is really feeling the
Yeah.
squeeze up there because that's where a lot of the development is.
Well, we'll see how they plan on coping with that.
Yeah, that's their headache right now, Dottie.
I know. But we'll help. We'll do what we can. The other.
And I don't. By the way, I don't mean it as a bad headache.
No,
it's,
I know. It
as
has to
I've
happen.
said, I mean, a lot of schools in New Hampshire are seeing continued declining enrollment,
Mm-hmm.
and that means less new families moving into town. And as your population gets older, if there's not new generation of families to come in and support the services there, that can become very difficult on
Yes.
a town. So, you know, Londonderry should be happy that it's seeing new families coming into town. By the way,
Yes.
we happen to be one of those.
Are you? Wonderful.
Yeah, we
Wonderful.
made the transition back to Londonderry in August.
Fantastic.
So our 3 kids are now in the school system.
Terrific.
But that's, you know, going back what I was saying, it's a good thing that Londonderry is seeing new families coming in, that there is new growth, because that'll help for the future, you know, as we need to sustain services and also as we do have an elderly population, you know, that there'll be services for them as well.
I just don't even know where do I transition to elderly? I've never figured out what that number is.
Oh, Dottie, you got
It's
a
not up
number
here.
of years. You got a number of years to go before you make
I'm
that
very
transition.
young up here. I really am.
But you could
it's
walk to
really-
the senior center, though, right?
Well, yeah, when they get back to where they are. I can't walk to where they are
No,
right
you
now.
can't. Not right now. You can't.
I'm next door to the senior center, so I can definitely get over there by foot. My daughter and son-in-law are making the transition back into New Hampshire. They've been living in Massachusetts,
Yeah.
and they didn't quite get to Londonderry. They're in Windham,
Yeah.
but close.
Close.
So
Yeah.
a lot closer to that granddaughter. That'll be fun. And then I wanted to get an update on one other company, Bradley Tree. What are they doing?
Who's this?
Bradley Tree, the tree company.
Bradley Tree.
That doesn't ring a bell,
Well,
huh?
now you've stumped me. No
Oh,
pun
last.
intended, Dottie.
I forgot Kevin's sense of humor.
I'll have to.
I was just curious about them because they were one of the ones that were being checked out by the Conservation Commission, as you were telling us earlier. All of them are, but just out of curiosity.
Well, I'm
But
not
yeah.
gonna. You know me. I'm not gonna talk about things that I'm
You're gonna.
not familiar on.
The one thing that I've always loved about Kevin is he has no problem saying I don't know, but I'll find out.
Well, I'm going to find out too,
So
right after
we'll
this.
talk.
I'll
We'll
go
talk
look
about
at
trees
Bradley
at
Tree.
the next one. Okay.
By the way, also just on the issue of new development.
Yes.
We got a lot of new restaurants
Yes.
opening up,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
great because that's one of the things I've heard over the years of being town managers. People want more
Yep.
options for eating.
Absolutely.
So, of course, La Carreta opened over the summer, which is a great Mexican option in town. Pasquale's Italian restaurant is now open.
Yep. As of last Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, last
Yeah,
Tuesday. I've
yeah.
been twice.
Yeah. You've been twice.
I have.
Oh.
I had to try, you know, the entree, one of the entrees.
Okay.
I will tell you the creme brulee is,
That's not an entree.
no, but it came after the entree.
Okay.
The cannoli is amazing. And there's an amaretto cake that is to die for
Okay.
as well.
Wait a minute. Was this like a dessert buffet you went to?
Well,
or?
you know, you got to try it all just a little bit, and, you know.
I getcha.
So, and then I had to go back for the wood-fired pizza.
Oh, yes.
Because that's their
They've
big
got-
thing is
yeah,
they do the
yeah.
wood-fired pizza,
Yeah.
and that was amazing. I know.
Okay.
I
Well, I'm
got
getting
Helen
hungry.
over here is she's going to walk
Salivating.
out any
Yeah.
second to go down there. But they appear to be doing great. The food was
very
delicious.
busy, very
Yeah.
busy.
The food was really, really good.
Yeah.
I'd highly recommend it.
Okay.
So they're right off of 102
Yeah.
where Avandi's used to be. Then yesterday I went to lunch at Gabby's Smoke
Yes,
Shack.
up in North Londonderry.
Barbecue.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. I
Really?
had the brisket sandwich, melted in my mouth, Dottie. It was some of the best brisket, and I've had Kansas City barbecue, I've had Texas barbecue. This was right up there with it. It was
Awesome. Good to
so
hear.
good.
Yeah.
So that is takeout.
Yeah, yeah.
They also do catering. I think it'd be great if they put a couple of tables in there to
Yeah,
eat right in
yeah,
there in the winter
yeah.
time. But it's really, really good. Gabby's Smoke
Terrific.
Shack,
Okay.
right up on
Right on 28.
28 next to the salon.
Yep.
And there's going to be more to come.
good.
Yeah, so, but I think it's great that we've got all of these eating
Okay.
options.
Well, this is good too because we've got so many wine options now. So it's good to have some food to go
Yes,
with the wine.
absolutely.
so-
Absolutely. And by the way, I do want to mention too that WMUR recently had a readers poll out for best craft beer companies in the state. There's a lot of craft beer
beers, yeah,
breweries.
yeah.
And 3 Londonderry craft beer brewers made the top 10.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Which is pretty
That's
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Good-
Yes.
Londonderry, good place to eat and drink.
You got it. Yes, it is.
But don't water your lawn while you're here. Okay. So how about an update on the senior center? I
Senior
can see
centers,
the senior center growing as,
Yep.
from my window, and
it's coming out great.
it's coming out wonderful. I
Yep.
love the additions look like they belong there.
Yeah.
It's very attractive.
Yeah, it was very seamless.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does look like it belongs. It looks like it was part of the
Yeah.
building.
And you do have to turn down Foxglove to get the effect of all of the
Right.
additions.
Yeah,
but
because it's all in the back.
Yeah.
But they're on time, they're on budget, and it looks to be open by the end of October.
And they work long. I don't know who's doing the construction over there, but they are dedicated people. I mean, they've been over there like super early in the morning.
Yeah.
They've been over there on the weekends.
Yep.
They were obviously determined to make sure they stayed on schedule.
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, it's coming out great. I've been up a few times to see the progress, and Steve Cotton on staff has just done a marvelous
Yep.
job
And
of.
he's there a lot
Yep,
watching.
Yep. He keeps
doing-
tabs on them and
yeah.
makes sure that it's all going according to plan. And
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about the job Steve does.
Yeah.
But it's coming out great. Like I said, by the end of October, it should be open again. There'll be new rooms for programs, in there, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
Yeah.
Coming out very well.
Cannot wait to see what Kathy Blash does with all of that space. She's
Well,
just going to have so much fun.
She is, and Kathy does.
For those of you who don't know, she's the director for the senior center.
In fact, I'll have to have her on.
Well,
I don't think
sure,
we've
why
had
not? We
her
haven't
on,
had her on.
right? No,
Nope,
I'll
we
bring
haven't.
Kathy on. Maybe
Okay.
for the next taping, we'll bring Kathy on.
That would be great, because that
and
would
she
be
can
just
talk
before the
about
opening,
It. Kathy
yeah.
does just an amazing job.
She
at the
does,
And,
yeah.
and every time I go up there, there's always seniors that are telling me just how excited and happy they are to have her.
Yeah. She's got so much enthusiasm. You cannot
She
help
does.
but catch it and feel the energy
Yeah.
of that. It's really good. If you're a senior, and that's anybody over 55, I know the age there. Anybody over 55, go on out. Just
Yeah.
stop in, even
Yep.
if you're not going to do anything in particular. Just stop in.
I like to
get
stop
the-
in and play bingo
and
with
get
them,
the, I was saying,
Dottie,
get
you
the
know?
get the feel for the atmosphere in there,
Right.
because it is very warm and friendly
Yep.
and inviting.
It is.
So she is doing a very good job. So, okay. One other thing, seeing so we're talking about seniors, I've been seeing in the paper that you keep advertising for the oldest citizen,
Yes.
so they can get the Boston Post cane, which is
Right.
a New Hampshire tradition to have that cane
Yep.
passed on to the oldest citizen in town. And I read that and I'm like, how would I know if I was the oldest? So I'm gonna challenge people here. Okay, if you are over 85, please contact. It's Kay Weber. It's right
Yep.
in the Londonderry Times, and just contact Kay Weber and let her know what age you are, because it's an honor to have that
It
cane.
is.
And it's a great tradition for our town to have, but if we can't find you, we can't give it to you.
Right.
So that's my challenge.
I
If you're
think
over
that's-
85,
yeah.
contact Kay, and we'll see which one of you is the most over 85.
Yes. That's a
So-
that's a great way to do it, Dottie.
Okay, I just want to narrow
Yes.
that down a little.
Yeah. No, I think
Okay,
that's a
either
good.
that or I'm going for the cane.
That's a good way to narrow it down. Yeah.
If I'm the oldest one that applies, I
Dottie,
could
you're
be the
not even
oldest
old
one in
enough for the
town.
senior center yet. You're definitely not old enough for the
Yeah,
cane.
right,
you
right,
know?
right, right.
Now,
Okay, I earned this
Al
right here.
Sipek behind the wall. he
That's a
might
different
qualify.
story. Yeah,
Right.
you're right. I forgot
know.
about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then of course we have to always. Oh, I know. There was another question. The about regional impacts. Regional impact. I think it was
Yep.
fees. Regional impact fees. Is that how that goes, or is it just impacts?
With regard
on
to-
services. I don't know. It was in regard to like the Bradley Tree Service and the Lorden Commons, and it was brought up in connection with them, and would there be any regional impacts?
Well, so one of the things that we occasionally have to do, and it's not on every plan, but on some plans when they come in, there's certain criteria they have to meet. We have to send it out to the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission and some
Okay.
of the other regional
And
planning commissions to determine whether or not there are any regional impacts on certain developments
Okay.
over a particular size.
I got
So
you.
that may
makes
be
sense. That's probably
what
what it
you're
is.
referring
Yeah.
to.
That's probably what
you know,
it is.
Woodmont Commons is an obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
And what they'll do is the region
Mm-hmm.
will weigh in on whether or not the development's going to impact them adversely in one way or the
Okay,
other.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So I've wiped out my list here.
Hey, we got through a lot.
The only thing that we haven't talked about is exit 4A.
Yes,
And I know you had a meeting with Jerry.
we did. It was really, it wasn't our meeting, it was DOT.
Okay. Held
With
a joint
Derry and
meeting. Yeah.
Londonderry and the consultant team that's doing the work on the environmental impact study. We did have it was a public forum,
Right.
informational session in Derry recently, just to give an update on where we are. Things are moving along. You know, the construction time is still slated to start in 2019, but there's a great new website that's been created for this. We'll get it up on our town website so
Okay.
people can check it out,
Yeah.
but it's a DOT site. It gives all the information on 4A.
Okay.
It's really, really good. I would say if people want to see more information about where the interchange is going to be, where's it going into, check out this website.
Okay.
It's something like exit 4A. I don't.
Yeah. Don't guess.
I'll put it on the website.
It'll be on the website.
People
Go
can
to
check
the
it out
go
there.
to the website for other reasons too. The website is so easy to use now, and it's got so much information up there, and it's easy to get through.
Yep.
So LondonderryNH.org, and you can find just about anything that you ever wanted to know about the town of Londonderry.
You got it.
And if you don't find it on there, you can find Kevin's phone number and call him
You can
directly.
call me.
Yeah.
Right.
So have we missed anything?
Donnie, I don't think so. Just, you know.
There's a lot going on.
Unfortunately, Pinkerton won the MAC plaque.
I'm sorry.
Again this year. It was close.
Yeah.
It was closer than it was in previous years. The football game was so close, but the rain kind of put a damper on things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
But good fun nonetheless.
Well, Kevin, welcome back to Londonderry.
Thanks, Dottie.
I'm glad you're
Happy
going to be living
back.
here.
Yeah, same
It's
here.
great. And
Yeah.
it says a lot when your town manager wants to move into your town.
It's a great,
That's
great
a good
town.
thing. It is a great town. And they answer the phone that way.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a great town of Londonderry. What
That's
can we do
right.
for you? So,
Yeah.
well, Kevin, thanks for being here today.
All right.
And we'll
Thanks
do this
again.
again next month.
All right.
And I hope that you'll tune in. And don't forget that if you have questions, all you have to do is just give us a call or email us. All the information is at the end of the show so that you can get in touch with us and let us know what it is that you want to know, okay? And it's transparency in government because we'll tell you whatever's going on. And I thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, Kevin.
All right, Dottie, thank you.